I guess. Hi guys. So welcome to the session that we are going to have about nomadic lifestyle, nomad traveling, nomad backpacking. Everything travel is going to be discussed today. We have four energetic people here with Amit, Jain, Nubia. There is Kaushal. We all are here to talk about travel and nomad lifestyle. We're going to talk in detail of how we all four have been enjoying our life while making a living on the road, off the road, slow travel, fast travel, and a lot of other things, right? So, quickly introductions. We'll have two lines about all of us to introduce. I'll go last. I would request Nubia to go first. Let me start this. Let's go ahead.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nubia. I am a full time traveler. I mean, I've lived on three continents and have traveled to over 43 countries. I left the United States about 3.5 years ago because I just got tired of the 9 to 5 corporate life. And I created a life abroad, starting a podcast to share stories of professionals over 35 who are traveling with passion and purpose. And I also am the director and curate travel for a luxury travel company. So now I get to travel the world for work.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Kaushal, you want to take up?
Sure, Sunny. Hi, guys. So I am Kaushal, and I've been traveling for the last traveling solo for the last, I think, 12 years. I don't know. So my travel started from an epic trip in South America, which was supposed to be 40 days, and it turned out to be 6 months long. And that was the genesis of my blog, as well as my whole solo, slow, digital nomad lifestyle. We'll have much to chat about, but I shuttle between being a designer, a travel blogger, and a communities or a tribe builder. That's me in a gist. Go Amit.
Beautiful, beautiful. I guess Amit Jain is having some network issue. I will take the honor to introduce Amit Jain to everyone. So Amit Jain is a very close friend, and he stays in Pune, and he's been traveling across the country. I guess Amit Jain is here. Amit Jain, we are discussing about who you are. So you want to take it up quickly?
No, no, no.
Are you
Please, yeah,
there?
network issue will be there, so you can continue. I'll try to fix it.
Cool, cool. So Amit Jain is the founder of Matti Ke Rang. Matti Ke Rang is basically a social entrepreneurship startup by him. He was having a nice, successful career in banking, and after building it up on the side for next like around I guess 4 years, then he quit his job, and as soon as he quit his job, he took out his backpack and he traveled across the country, staying in different cities, networking with people, building up his community for his social entrepreneurship. And in the pandemic, the best part is about his startup and his whole initiative of networking with so many people across the country in India. What he did is he raised a lot of funds for the people who are stuck here and there, people who are stuck in the floods. Like he got out as a godfather to a lot of people sitting in Guwahati. I remember him putting out videos at how he stuck in rains in Guwahati when we were having summers here in the rest of the country, and he was stuck with a mask there with his laptop, and he was raising funds for humanity. And he's been on a spree altogether from last, I guess, a year. The last time I met him was a year back, and he's been killing it very well. So yeah, and coming back to me, who I am. So I am Sunny Awasthi. My introduction is quite simple. I've been traveling via my cycle. It started with bunking school and taking your cycle out to explore the city. It started with Glucon-D bottles in your backpack and Parle G biscuits that you can afford at that moment, till going and exploring all your remote terrains in India on the motorbike. And then I have traveled quite a lot. I can't, say it in words, but it's an overwhelming experience to just share my experience here today with you all. I am building up a community which is concentrated on independent art and culture of the country. We do better gatherings in cities, and that's what I do for a living, and that's how I live and use my passion into making it into a profession. Nice. So
Awesome.
guys, people who are attending this, people who are hearing us, we see 41 people there. I would appreciate if you all keep clapping, keep sending some hearts, or reacting to whatever we are talking, so we all know that, oh nice, we see hearts already coming in. Guys, there are a lot of questions that we can ask each other. We will keep talking to with the panelists, and I will request you all to shoot any question that you feel that you want to ask us. Coming down to Kaushal, what I would want to ask you as the first question for the session. We'll keep it very light because I'm not good at asking questions. But yes, so Kaushal, tell us more about how did a 1 month tour became a 6 month tour and how you got broke. Like it was a very interesting part of your introduction. Let's start with that.
Yes. So, well, the whole idea of going to South America in the first place at that time was that I had a really boring life before that. It was just a corporate thing I was doing for the last 7 years prior to that trip. And it was a friend's behest that, why don't you join me? I speak Spanish. It will be amazing for you to do South America with me. And I took up her offer, and instead of the 40-day thing, which was supposed to be the original plan, it went on to a 6 month thing for multiple reasons, right? One is the fact that when you go from here to South America, it's a really, really expensive place to keep going back to. But when you're there, it's a place which you instantly fall in love with. And when you're there, it just makes more sense to extend your stay for a longer time as opposed to thinking about coming back. So the financial aspect was actually the primary thing. Although I went broke by the time I came back, it was fully worth it. I think in your 20s or your early 30s, if you can do something as crazy as that, it's completely okay as long as you know what you're doing and have a future plan. So that was the primary reason I did that. But it was also because of my couch surfing host, who insisted I should stay there for at least a month in his house. That's an incredible thing which changed everything for me at that time. I mean, I could go on with my story, but
I think that's beautiful. And I think a lot of people don't realize that part of travel is that you meet people along the way that extend their homes to you, their friendship and everything else, which makes your travel so much better,
Exactly.
I guess that's one reason that we all four have been out. That's one common reason for everyone to be out on on a work vacation or working from the outdoors, while you get such warmth by so many random strangers across, right? And plus you get to learn so many cultural aspects of their region that they are in, and they've been born and brought up there.
Absolutely.
So
but the work thing came afterwards. When I came back to India is when I realized, how do I make this a sustainable thing for myself first? It was not the sustainability part for the planet first. It was first about myself. How do I make this something which I do on a perennial basis? Is when the whole thought of being a digital nomad came on. That, hey, if I have a laptop, I could work out of pretty much anywhere because I do primarily design and now content creation. But that's something which you can technically do anywhere. And that was the genesis of the whole thing. So that kind of answer.
Right. Yeah.
I really believe this pandemic is teaching a lot of us that you can actually work from anywhere. I think every single one that I know who has dealt with the pandemic outside of healthcare, right, essential work, has been able to work off of their virtual laptop. So it goes to show you that the premise that you have to be in an office, in front of your desk, it's not really real life. Like, we can do our work from pretty much anywhere and be location independent. Right. And most offices can save on overhead without having us in their office.
Totally, Nubia. You could even be up in the air.
Agreed. Yeah. So I have one more question coming from the audience side. How are you guys coping with the lockdown in place? Both of you need to answer.
Oh, I'm glad you jumped directly into the questions. Go for it, Nubia. Go for it.
On it.
I'm in Mexico right now. I am in Tulum, Mexico. And if anybody knows, Mexico is really built on tourism, especially the Quintana Roo area. So even with the pandemic, Mexico is one of the only countries that still allowed tourism. So nothing is really, things are operating at like a 30% capacity, but they're still operating. So I have built a whole community here in Tulum. I'm hosting a brunch today. I host a brunch every other Sunday for expats and nomads and, people of color. And I also, do events. And I mean, it's been great for business, actually.
I would say the same thing. Whose question was that? Shrishti. So even for me, because now the companies are undergoing this forced digital transformation, and my primary thing is design. there are more companies who now want to be like, you know what, we need a website. Like I have a friend of mine who's into chemicals, and he was like, I don't need to be on the internet. And now he's like, dude, please get me onto the internet fast.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's it's a forced digital transformation that is happening. And so for me, it's been great for business. I mean, I think at a very macro level, it is the repercussions of the pandemic are actually good. It's only at a micro level when it touches and affects individuals and their livelihoods that it becomes a problem. But at the grander level for the planet, it's actually a good thing.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And because majority of my business is curating travel, I did get hit very hard. So it's not that it hasn't affected me personally, but what it did was it actually freed up this time that I never thought I had to do other things, which opened up more opportunities. You know, I've always wanted to do more on my speaking engagements. I've always wanted to do more on the content creation side. I've been able to do so much more of that without having to be on the go all the time, that I'm actually using this downtime to bring up my skills, take, you know, lessons and certifications. I got a couple of coaches, and just work on my professional and personal growth. And it's been amazing.
That's brilliant.
And I think,
That's brilliant.
I think you're a mother of two, right, Nubia? And
I am.
I had a question. I had a question for this. I had a question coming in to Nubia where I had to ask her about, you know, how do you cope up when you're a nomad and you're living outdoors and, you know, somewhere else from your family? How do you cope up with the family? How's your family setup happening now?
Okay, so I am a single mother of two, but they're young adults. My eldest is 23 and my youngest is turning 21. And I talked to them before I left and was like, hey, do you want to come? Like, let's go. And being kids, they're like, my friends are here and all this kind of stuff. I think at some point, family, fear, and your money, finances always hold you back from being your best self. At some point, you have to put yourself first and make yourself a priority. Even if you're a parent, even if you're a wife or a husband, even if you're, you know, whatever it is, you have to put yourself in a position to be your own priority. And that's what I did. After being a mom for, 20 plus years, I said, it's my time. It's me time. Like, it's never going to be the right time, you know? So
That's
I had
to.
That's a great point. That's a great
Those
point.
three F's: family, fear, and finances. I love that.
Yeah.
Finances.
Yeah.
Nice. So this one is for Kaushal. I'm shooting in questions back to back because every answer that we are all having here is so prompt and it's so accurate that I don't want to like add up more. Rather, like let's take more questions, right? So this is for Kaushal. Which are your favorite countries for remote working? In terms of good internet spaces, how do you manage it? Like, how do you choose? How do you pick up what's happening there?
Well, I mean, if I have to start with India, of course, I mean, call me biased, but of course I'm going to say India first, and that to Goa because it's my favorite place on the whole planet. I think it's primarily because Goa does not necessarily have the best internet or the best backbone to support a lot of things. But with the dongle now, it's all possible across the country, right? I would say the second best that I have encountered would be Thailand. It's because of multiple reasons. It's because it is firstly very cheap. Like if I were to even compare that to the other places I've worked out of Colombia or Brazil, those are fantastic too. But the cost of the internet also makes a huge difference, right?
Right.
That way, I thought that Thailand was excellent, and it's one of my favorite countries. Even Bangkok, I spent a whole month living in Bangkok, and I love that city. People usually miss that city and just make it like a hub to go to different places. But even living in Bangkok is incredibly amazing.
I spent 2 years in Thailand. I was supposed to go for a month, and I ended up staying 2 years.
I can't blame you.
It's beautiful, such a beautiful country.
I'm waiting to step out of India now because of this whole platform that we are in. I've been listening to so many speakers from across the globe, and I'm like, am I missing on a lot of things? Coming back to another question, I have a very, this attracted me a lot, so I just got lost in the question itself. So Saurav Arya, co-founder of Workstays, is asking, Pre-pandemic, some of us chose to go remote. During pandemic, most of us were compelled to be remote. What do you think is going to happen post-pandemic? Everyone has this question. Trust me, guys.
I don't think there is
Um,
going to be a post pandemic, because I think
Okay.
that what we're in right now is our new reality. And you have to understand that, COVID is a virus, and viruses don't necessarily get eradicated overnight. So this is going to be a long time coming. So, we need to get into a
mm,
position to actually protect ourselves and still live. So we got to adapt to what's going on, because this isn't going to change tomorrow, you guys. It's not going to change in 3 months. It's going to be a long time before we're actually at a place where we can look back and say, wow, we went through a pandemic. You know what I mean? So if anything, we're going through a recession, right? In the meantime as well. And we get through those pretty quickly. But as in regards to the virus and everything else, it's a virus. It's worldwide, and we're not going to be able to eradicate that for the next maybe 10 decade or more. It's unfortunate to say, but it's true.
yeah, I don't like hearing this, but I think we need to hear this.
Yeah, we need
I
to.
mean,
We need to. This
It's
is
the
our
reality.
reality now.
It's the reality.
It's a
Yeah, true.
reality.
Yeah. Should Amit
I
go next? Because I think
Amit
he's.
is Amit. Can you put your mic on? Can we hear you? Are you there, guys? Trust me, the platform doesn't work for Geo on your 4G. Okay. I think we leave Amit for a while. Let him fix his internet and come back to us. I wished he was here. I had two questions for
Yeah.
him. Okay, so I feel so. I want to share something with you, or rather than taking up a question, let's share our stories, right? So, 2.5 months of the pandemic when it started, I was in my native place. This was in March, the first weekend. There is a festival called Holi in India, and I was in my native place in somewhere of 60 kilometers from Lucknow. It is a proper rural village, which is where is my roots from, right? So me and 30 of our family members, we left from Bombay in a train. We had a big fat family going there and staying there for 10 days and then coming back. So while we were coming back, we had our train tickets, we had everything. I left the whole family to the station and I took my backpack. Me and my wife, I just got married in November. So me and my wife, we took our backpacks and said the family that I guess you all should leave for the journey back home. We want to stay for a few more days. When my dad asked me why, I said, I don't think I'm in business anymore. There is something called as Corona, which is spreading crazy in the south of our country. So I think I will stay here. And that was, trust me, the best decision of my life because all the pressure that I had while working in Bombay or any city, right? Like even in nomad lifestyle, I'm trying to understand how rural and how city life can be balanced in terms of people like me who would want to be inside India itself while exploring different parts of the country, because I've been exploring a lot of cities but never experienced a rural work lifestyle that I could create. It was the most beautiful times in terms of the way I could see the economy running there, the way I could see the culture, the way I could pick up very good habits, healthy food, so much of open air and space to just walk around, roam around. And while the whole pandemic was actually killing a lot of people in the country, I feel bad about it, but I felt great, to be very honest, in terms of remotely working. And that's where I found my love for remote working, and that's where I took a call very consciously that whatever happens tomorrow, this is what I am going to do. So I guess after the pandemic, like the question that I asked, I would have an answer for this in this way that yes, we saw a lot of people becoming nomads while working and taking up that kind of a lifestyle. Overall, a lot of people made a lot of mistakes there while becoming content creators, right? So then came a period where came influencers, and then people started traveling more. It became more about your content rather than what actually you want to show
Yeah.
or speak, right? Now I feel after the pandemic, everyone is a storyteller, and it's high time that we all have realized that we all are literal storytellers in our own way, right? From your podcast, from your blogs, from your Instagram stories, everywhere. It's about stories, right? I feel as nomad working people from very various places, we can get some amazing content. We can get some amazing clients because brands run behind stories. We can make some amazing communities, and all of this is easy when you're out of your space of your regular hustle that you've been born and brought up with. For a matter of fact, a city like Bombay, it's so much fast, it's so much in pace all the time. I have been living here and running fast with the city for around 6 years of my starting career. And as soon as I explored the rural part and I started working there, I feel the main essence of stopping down and really looking at the story for 10 minutes could be possible, right? So I feel nomadic lifestyle with working on the go is going to increase thousand times more, because a lot of people from the corporate world have come on our Motojojo platform and messaged us, can you curate something for me? I want to go for a trek, and with my laptop, can I get a dongle there? A lot of inquiries are coming in for longer stays. That's what the Indian market right now is, where there's a lot of longer stay options requirement coming from everywhere. Every client is coming out with that. Yesterday's discussion had some really good keynotes where we understood that the luxury travel segment and the basic, very backpacking budget travel segment is now both going to boom together rather than one going up or one going down, because the more you give safety and luxury, the more family and your group crowd will come from there, your corporate, your family, your group, right? The more the government and the local authorities would put down their cost, they would want people to come back, and tour operators like us would also want people to come back. So rates are going to go down, flights are going cheaper, vehicles are getting sold. At least in Indian market right now, I've been talking to a lot of car vendors. People are buying second-hand cars, second-hand bikes. I see a lot of people coming into biking, cycling, right? So a lot of touring in your local areas around 100 200 kilometers plus, now realizing that I can stay for a month just 200 kilometers away from my friends and family, and I can work from there, has been very deeply rooted and inculcated in the system of people working in the last 4 months in the country, at least in India. That's what I know about. And I feel, yes, there is really nice positive atmosphere that is going to come out for all of us.
True. In the
We're
luxury
all
space,
storytellers.
Nubia works in that space, right? Nubia, do you agree with what Sunny says, that you also see that happening in the
To
luxury
us,
space?
when I was listening, to a certain degree, I agree to disagree. I think that luxury travel is going to be booming because people are going to feel like they deserve it, which they do, right?
Right,
It's
right.
kind of like this pandemic has made you look at your life to say, wow, things can actually change at the drop of a hat and you have no control over it, right?
Yeah.
So people are noticing that they don't have control over their lives the way they thought they did. So all of the things that you wanted to do and you kept saying, I want to do that one day becomes today, because you realize that tomorrow may not be there. So a lot of people are actually putting their money into themselves, which also in turn turns into like, you know what, I've never had this kind of travel experience. I'm going to do that, right? Luxury prices are actually coming down. Airline prices are actually going up because right
That's
now
interesting.
the airlines are like, well, you want to go somewhere, don't you? And like I looked at a ticket to Istanbul and it was $1,200 US.
Wow.
Exactly. I was like thinking I'm gonna find me a cheap flight, and I was like, wait, $1,200 just to go to Turkey? Yeah, it's
Wow.
prices
You
for
could,
flights
you
seem
could
to
fly
be
to
still
India
expensive.
cheaper than that before that. You
Oh,
could
it's
fly all the way to India.
crazy. I have been to India actually. I went to Chennai, Jaipur, and Agra.
Awesome. Is Amit
Yeah.
back?
Nice. I guess Amit came in
Why
and
not?
again he left. Kaushal, what do you think about the whole? Do you agree to disagree, or what do you feel
About which specific point? Because
about the point that okay, now the culture of nomad working is going to pick up quite well, and the atmosphere around is going to be better.
I think we have no option, right? Because we've been rendered into being or forced into adopting. So I mean, there is this management term called VUCA, right? Vulnerability, uncertainty, chaos, and ambiguity. And
Okay.
and that's the kind of space which, if you can work under under those situations, and we are living in VUCA world right now, um,
Correct.
you can. you can prosper in the future. If you can tread through that, you can really carve yourself a better future, because it will make you resilient. It will make you way more, like they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think what we are going through right now is just a huge transformation for us to rethink what we thought was this is how you lead a life, or this is how
Yes.
you work. So we are re-questioning and reprioritizing. And
Exactly.
ultimately, that's what life is all about, right? You have your priorities and your responsibilities, and that's how. Because there was one question by Pahul, which I saw, like, how do you deal with your parents and family while you're traveling nomadically? I'm trying to connect that to this question as well, which is
Okay.
that I think ultimately it comes down to that what are your responsibilities, are your priorities. If your family is your responsibility, you can't just leave them and go traveling. But
Right.
if they are fine without you being around for some time, I don't think there's a question of convincing, because you can just be on your own. And I think since she's specifically targeting that towards, especially if you're a woman, maybe Nubia can answer that question. Um,
I
but
think
I think
that
that
we all, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I'm saying I don't think there's any convincing required really. It's more to do with what you really want to do, and if you prioritize that, and if you can convince your parents that, hey, I'm not doing this as a unlimited vagabonding, but it is a priority which is for me at this moment in time. But
Right.
maybe years later, I'm going to be in a better space, and I have got that figured out. That's just
I
my
think
opinion.
that a lot of times people believe you have to do it a certain way. You don't have to do it the way I've done it, or, somebody else who is like a nomad or what expat, you can actually go for 2 weeks, a month, 10 days, like just a
True.
little bit of time to give you, an opportunity to dip your toes in and experience something else. If
True.
you're calling, if you're feeling like you need to go out and experience, like what you did with your wife, I thought that was amazing. You guys just said, you know what, I want to do something different, and we want to do something different together. I think that's great. Even if you wanted to do something individually, it's not that you're leaving your wife or she's leaving you. It's just that you're
Right.
taking time and, again, prioritizing yourself for a moment. And a lot of times, we feel like because it doesn't look a certain way, we can't do it at all. And it's like, no, you create your reality. So it doesn't have to be 6 months, a year, 5 years. It could be 6 days, 30 days,
Right.
and come back, and you can honestly come back with a story, because we all have stories. And that's the beauty of technology. We've been able to share our stories internationally across seas, and be able to relate, be able to, share in somebody else's experience, be able to learn, and be, educated, and to educate. And it's been such a beautiful thing. Like, this whole pandemic was like a slap to the whole world, like, wake up.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's one common point everyone on this panel, on the other panels that has been happening here, has been rightly saying that it's a slap on your face, that wake up guys, and go buckle up and try something new or fresh, or just do something in life, right? Like whatever your responsibilities, priority settings, your bank account statement, whatever, right? Like, I literally fixed my bike after so long, I fixed my cycle. Like, yes, these are fucking important things, right? Like, we need to get our mind space clear. Great,
Mm-hmm.
great in this aspect. I will quickly pick up a nice new question. It's Srishti Bhandari. She's an artist, graphic designer. She has a question which says, all these new safety measures in place, do you as a digital nomad feel safe traveling now? And if yes, will you guys spend equal time engaging with people like you did before?
I
Should I
do.
reframe the question?
No,
I
that's a
do.
great
I do.
question.
Protect yourself. Yeah, I just protect myself. I wear my mask, and I wash my hands. I might not hug you or whatever, which is really sad. I think I miss hugs, right? Like
Yeah.
really good
We
hugs.
all do.
But I miss that personal contact. But I don't believe in isolation to the point where you are no longer social. We are human beings, and human beings are social people. We need stimulation. There have been tons of research and stuff about isolation versus being social, and people who have stayed in isolation, it's not good for your mental health. So I think getting out there, I tell everybody, listen, a simple smile and a hello is free and it goes a long way. So just having interaction and seeing people and saying hello, and asking them, how are you holding up during this or whatever.
Yeah.
You have to get outside, guys. You can't stay in the house for the rest of your life. It's just not, it's not healthy.
Coming to that, I have another question now, ringing a bell in my brain, that where do you see yourself traveling in the next coming months? Like, say, if you feel that September is going to be, a nice time to travel because of, a controlled measures and everything opening up again. So where do you feel that you're going to pick up your bag next and travel to next after this whole staying home?
Should we try Amit if he's around again? Amit, are you around?
I just gave up on him slightly.
Oh,
Amit, are you there?
man.
Okay, cool.
No, I think
Kaushal, you want to take it up?
Sure,
Kaushal, you
sure,
want to
Sunny.
take
Should I go for that
the
question or both, or I'll go with yours first, which is
Simple question. Simple
where
question. I'll just quickly pick up the question again. The question is, where are you traveling
where
next,
next?
and
Right.
when?
Sure. So when is an answer which I don't know because I'm in no hurry to travel. I think that's a misconception which people have about digital nomads or any nomads for that matter, right? Being nomadic doesn't mean that you're constantly traveling. It means that you choose to travel when you want to travel. Right now, I don't choose to travel. I'm happy the way I am right now because I'm staying with my mom and she's vulnerable, and it's important for me to take care of, not exposing her to any such germ or contagion. So, with that being said, I think for me it is not a priority right now to travel at all. So, if it means I have to stick around here for maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, so be it. I mean, you have such wonderful conferences, and you have, YouTube, and you have such wonderful ways online to travel vicariously. I don't know how you pronounce that word, but you know what I'm talking about, right? That through
Right.
somebody else's experiences you can travel or relive, and that's one of the reasons I also blog. It's more than the audience; it's for myself, so that I can remember that, hey, you know what, I had a great time in Italy, I had a great time in South America or in Goa, and you relive those experiences. Right now, it's that time, and you can still work and do things which you want to do, but where do I want to go next? I
Yeah.
think that answer is always Goa. I mean, my first place after such a crazy time. I think the first place where you will go and just want to breathe the air and just go into the waters and dip your feet is always Goa for me. South Goa, Palolem, or someplace like that. Yeah, 100%.
Beautiful. Nubia, what do
I
you
am
think?
on the first flight to Thailand. As soon as they open their borders and tell me I can come in, I'm on my way.
International, like
I've been,
100%.
because that's where I find my happy place. If you have a place that makes you feel alive, I say go there. And when I go to Thailand, it helps me with my mental and physical and personal well-being. So I just want to be back in a place that makes me happy. And,
Absolutely.
so as
And
soon as
Thailand,
Thailand says come, I'm coming.
same here. One of the primary reasons I want to go to Thailand is it's the closest place I can get authentic acai. It's my favorite food on the planet. The best place to get it is in Brazil, but then the closest place and the cheapest place for me is Thailand. So I want to go there for the acai.
Exactly.
I was thinking of going to the mountains, but now I feel I'm also coming with you all to Thailand then.
Well, there's mountains in Thailand as
Mountains,
well.
exactly. There's amazing mountains
There's
in Chiang
always
Mai.
space for one more person to hang around, right?
Thailand has some of the most beautiful mountains. And if you really want to be adventurous and less expensive than Thailand, and go to Vietnam, Vietnam mountains are amazing.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
But
I
yeah,
do see
Sikkim.
people asking us a lot of questions. Guys, if you all are here, the audience, if you all are here, we are open for questions. Please keep asking us questions, or else we would all go back into our memory lanes and just share our stories with you all. You like it or not, we're going to share it more. Coming in, we have Mayur telling Kaushal that, okay, Nomad Goa is there.
I
Yeah,
definitely
so we have found a
want to.
place. Okay. So what do you feel about the this is a question from my side. I have been, in that doubt of understanding that how much is enough in terms of money, in terms of creating an economy for yourself, where you feel safe by being a slow traveler or a nomad workaholic person who actually works. Like, I love working, right? I really love working. I love working 18 hours a day. But when I'm traveling, it becomes a bit of a disbalance. And, I've been fighting with it. I've been trying 6 days, 15 days, 2.5 months recently, right? So, but then again, how do we evaluate at the money front, irrespective of the responsibilities and the priorities that we have, because we had a discussion before. But irrespective of that, just to make the audience and the whole world understand our perspective, that how much is enough.
May I go on that, Nubia?
I mean, I guess it depends on the country you're in, because even when I lived in South America, it's traveling throughout South America was extremely expensive. Where when I lived in Asia, I thought travel, I mean, it's accessible, much more accessible in Asia than it is in South America, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it's a lot more expensive in comparison. So it all depends on where you are. I can't really answer that question in quantitative, measures, because it's kind of like, where you at? If I'm in Mexico, and Mexico is not cheap, but it's not overly expensive either. So my budget is a lot higher here than it would be if I was in Asia.
Right.
So I think I would put it this way, Sunny, that I would, although you said never mind the responsibility and priorities, I would say no, that's very critical, because without that, it doesn't make sense, right? Because unless you know that this is how much I need to save for the future, you'll never know how much you need to get going. But if you're only looking at budgeting for, let's say, a month in Thailand or 3 months in South America, and being a digital nomad there, then yes. So I would say the best place to go and figure that out is my favorite website on the whole internet, which is called Nomadlist, nomadlist.com. It's by Peter Levels, and it's just an incredible website which tells you the cost of living in any city in the world. And with that, you can pretty much plan your entire life around how do you want to make it in the next 3 months, in the next 6 months, and figure out that this is how most people are spending here. How much does a beer cost there? How much does living cost there? How much does it cost? Whatever. So check out Nomadlist. I think it's the best website to figure out what your budget should be in any place.
Do you mind dropping that link? Because I've been using Numbio. Numbio is another one that
Numbio is wonderful, but Nomadlist is like, Numbio on steroids, or just a more beautiful Numbio.
Okay, please share that link. This is another thing about
we'll get the link in the comment.
Learning. I love it.
I have a related question to money here. So Vandita, the founder of Trawork, is asking us, people really want to know what kind of work you do on the go to make money. This question has been there since, I don't know, infinity, I feel, right? So let's try your perspective on the same question. Nubia, you want to take it up quickly first?
Okay. So I always say to people, what don't I do? I think as an entrepreneur, you pick up a lot of different skills, I'll say. So to sum it all up, I call myself a consultant, right? Because I also consult and help people travel to make it help them be more streamlined and effortless, right? Because not everybody can get up and pack a bag and just go and feel comfortable doing so. They need people to help guide them through the process so they feel more confident and able to do so. So I do consulting. I do content creating for small businesses. So I create their campaigns for social media, and I do digital strategy on a higher level. I don't do social media management. But so I tap into a lot of things. In the pandemic, because I was isolated, I started cooking again. And I realized how much I loved and missed cooking, because with all the travel, I eat out and I write about, my food, and I'm always sharing pictures. Well, my audience was like, what's the recipe? What's the recipe? When is the cookbook coming out? So guess what I did? I am now the author of a cookbook, and that cookbook sold over 100 units, in less than 2 months. Like, I picked up all of these things that I never really thought I would be doing, especially during the pandemic, because I had to pivot and I had to learn how to use the things that I'm passionate about and that I love and make that help me make money. So I help small businesses and I help individuals leverage themselves. And that's how I typically make my money outside of travel. But
this is so inspiring. This is so
inspiring. Pre-pandemic, I curate travel experiences for luxury travelers. That's how I make my money.
What about you, Kaushal?
Am I audible? Because my network.
Yeah, you're good. Oh, he went. Okay, I think we lost connection to him.
Hey, am I audible to you?
Easier. Okay, yeah.
So I think, I don't know if I can share my screen here. I actually have a slide deck on this. I won't show you the whole slide deck, just one slide, so don't worry about that.
I'm going to dip out for 2 seconds. I need to charge my laptop, so just so you guys know, I'll be right back.
Sure.
All right.
Kaushal, it's down near the mic sign. Can you see the sign of sharing your screen? Yeah, you can.
Do you see my screen?
Yeah. Yes, we see your screen. Great.
There you go. So these are the things which you could possibly do. I mean, it doesn't have to be necessarily digital. I don't know if you can see my mouse as well. Can you see my mouse?
Yeah, we can see your mouse. Yeah.
Okay. So for example, you could even be a yoga instructor. You don't necessarily have to be a digital nomad on the go. You could do content creation, coding. Sales is not something which is necessarily digital. You could do customer support. Translation is not something which is necessarily digital all the time, but it can be digital enabled. You could do teaching, you could do photography, yoga, so a bunch of things which you could possibly do. And these are just some of the things which I have written down, but I mean, there are a bunch of other things you could possibly do.
Cool.
Myself, I do primarily design and travel content creation, and that's my thing, but then to each their own, right? So you could, I mean, I know enough people who are yoginis and yoga instructors going all around the world and doing, I'm like, wow, I want your life. I wish I was into yoga and I could be going around and teaching yoga around the world. So many options out there. I mean, this slide is something you can keep adding to all the time.
That's great. I would like to add on to the points that have been mentioned in the slide. You can actually put storytelling, right? So my career somehow is, my expenses, my losses, everything, like the whole startup setup, the whole cost of setting up the startup at that scale across the country was covered by the people because they were interested in listening to the stories while I was traveling across all those cities. So it became into something where I could just speak to people in their houses, in where they host us, where they treat us like someone who's come from the outer world, and then they love you so much, and there's so much of love, affection. Plus, you can actually survive, and there are so many ways. We just have to go a bit deeper inside ourselves and understand where do we stand. Are we digitally good? Are we good coders? Are we good in yoga? Are we good in so many options are there right now? So that's a great thing, man. I really appreciate the slide that you shared with us. It was quite insightful. I guess Nubia is back. Hi, Nubia.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. I wish Amit was back as well. But
yeah.
Is it
So
audible?
I have. Oh yes, Amit. Hi. Yes, we hear you, Amit.
Okay, I'll add to this point because I think we are running out of time, so I'll add quickly. What I feel, like for me, what really worked, no matter, like the best thing if you want to become a nomad, if anyone asks me, just take a job of 1 or 2 years and just follow one quote, which I really follow from my heart, which is make connections when you don't need the most. So when I was working with the Bank of New York for 7 years, I just kept making connections on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Then Insta came in. And when I left the job and started backpacking across India, so, we went to 80 plus cities and I had a friend in every city. So my complete cost was not more than $200 for 6 months, 80 cities. So, that's how if you keep making connections, and then when it comes to earning money, once you have a confidence that you have a great network, no matter what you sell, people would be love to try it, and they will definitely do it. And now looking at the corona, I think the best thing could be to build up a community. And that's my 2 cents.
I couldn't agree more
Wonderful.
with Amit. Yeah. I would actually add more to this that it's not just about making connections. I would say one of the best advices I've ever received is don't be a go-getter, be a go-giver, which is to be giving value as opposed to saying what can, it's about the attitude of what can I do for you as opposed to what can you do for me. And if you can have and inculcate that attitude, I think the world will help you when you need it. So, for example, a couple of months ago when I really had no work, I just put out a tweet that, hey, I'm looking for work. And I was inundated. I had like 9 projects in my pipeline just because I put up that tweet, and people are willing to help. So it's not always give and take, but if you are always, if you think about yourself as a value giver, value will come back to you.
I
That's brilliant.
agree.
I
I
agree. Yeah.
agree. I mean,
I
I
think
just
we all
wrote
agree
in
for it.
there like your network is your net worth. So
Yeah.
also be mindful of the community that you have around you. Your perspective and your mindset is the forefront, and it helps shift where you're going to go. I know that I want to be a CEO of my brand and build an empire. That is me. I want to build a legacy while I do this. I'm not doing this just because I personally love to travel. I do this because I love to share my experiences, and I love to give, like you said, give information and resources to others, right? And it comes back to me in tenfold. But this year specifically, I find myself surrounded by 6 to 8 figure CEOs. I'm no longer the smartest one in the room. Now I'm in the room absorbing from them because the universe put me in a position to build my empire. And in order to do that, I needed to be around 6 to 8 figure CEOs so I can see how it's done. So so a part of it is your community, and it's about the people you have around you because you guys help share information, resources, and help one another. So I love the don't be a go-getter, be a go-giver. It's definitely, putting yourself out there for sure.
I think there is a question that I would want to take up, but before I take up the question, I want to know: is there any secret sauce that we believe in? That can be just given to the world and everyone can do the same.
Secret
Yes.
sauce on.
Is there a secret sauce?
Go for it,
Just
Nubia. I want to
kidding. Just kidding with you all. So the question comes from Vandita, again, founder of Trawork. I think she's asking some nice, brilliant questions to us. What are some of the low points of being a digital nomad? Top 3 things that went wrong with you guys. Let's focus on the wrong side. Like what mistakes that we did. Like let's
Yeah.
educate people with that angle, right?
Yeah. So I think that's a brilliant question because usually people think about, wow, so many people have done it and I couldn't make it. Why? Because you don't hear about the failure stories or what went wrong. And trust me, I had a lot of failure stories when it comes to being a digital nomad. I mean, when you hear about it first, I first heard about what a digital nomad is when I picked up a book by Tim Ferriss back in, I don't know, 2008 or 9, sorry, 2007, was a book called The 4 Hour Work Week, which talked about this. And I mean, at that time, I never realized this, but it's not an easy path all the time. So I tried being a digital nomad in Colombia in 2013, and that just didn't work out because I had taken up design projects which from India, which I was trying to implement out there. And what went wrong primarily was the fact that I was trying to work and travel at the same time. And that's what I was trying to tell in the beginning that uh, being a digital nomad doesn't mean that you're constantly traveling and you're working. It's better when you are stationed in one place. So, for example, when I was in Bangkok for a whole month, I could really experience Bangkok in a wonderful way and at the same time get work done, right? Or the same way last year when I was in Brazil, I took up just about enough work. I had like committed to 4.5 hours of work per day. So I had the rest of the day free to myself. So I could do a good balance of working as well as traveling. So that's something which was a great learning from. I don't know if it is 3 things, but that's pretty much my failure story. Is that don't think about always traveling and working all the time. That's not a good
You
idea.
know, I don't like to call them failures. I like to call them lessons, right?
Yeah, learnings,
Because,
absolutely.
yeah, learnings, because when people use so for me, when he asked about the secret sauce, I believe that the secret sauce is your perspective. If you shift your perspective of how you look at
Yep.
it, you'll understand because a lot of things go wrong. This last week has been tremendously like in the dumps for me. However, I still sit here with a smile because I think to myself, okay, there's a lesson behind all of these things that are going wrong. I didn't think I would, I thought I was going to be Amit today because my internet was down the drain and I was like ready to jump on the management. And I was like, what's going on? I need the internet. I have these conferences, blah, blah, blah. And look, I'm here and it's working. So I really do believe that shifting your perspective and speaking more positively about situations and understanding that we all go through lessons. They're there for a reason, right? There's no really good or bad or wrong or right. It's kind of like, that's your path. Whatever that path is, that's your path, right? So for me, I think one of the lessons that I learned was trying to trying to budget your money a little bit better. I wanted to travel and have a good time. I didn't want to travel and feel like I couldn't do stuff. And so there was times when I was looking at the bank account going, okay, it's dwindling, but money isn't coming in. So to that perspective, exactly. You said you went broke, right? Like yes. I was at that point where I was just like, okay, universe, what's going on? I need to make sure I keep X amount of figures, you know, what I call them commas in my bank account. And that's going to always make me feel comfortable. So instead of using the B word, I never use the B word anymore, guys. So I don't say broke. Instead of using that, I just say, you know, money ebbs and flows. It comes and it goes. And I have to understand, and that's my mantra, you know, money comes and goes, it ebbs and flows. Like it literally does. And I'm going to have moments where I'm ebbing and flowing and I'm just kind of going through the motion. And when I'm down here, I know there's an uprising. I know I'm going to come back. You know, when I'm at that top, I know there's going to be a time that I come down. So when you anticipate it, I mean, it is what it is, right? I'm still here. I'm here with you guys. I'm smiling. There's no failures.
You said my two favorite phrases, Nubia, shift in perspective and ebb and flow. I completely believe in both. And I think travel itself is a shift in perspective.
You have to.
If you ask me to define travel, that's what it's about. It's about, in fact, my friends call me nickname Drishtikon. Drishtikon is the Hindi word for perspective or nazariya. And I always use that word and people just call me Drishtikon because I use that word so much.
I love it. And that's what makes us, you know, who we are, is that we're able to not look at things with a glass half empty, but more or less with the glass half full. So I think that's the secret sauce right there, Sunny, is shifting your perspective and being more positive in your thinking and not think so limited. I think we all battle limiting beliefs, whether it's about, you know, and, you know, sometimes you got to kind of just bust through that and say, nah, I can do this. I got this. And you'll be all right.
So I would like to, no, I don't think I'm taking any question. I would like to share one of my experience in, you know, making everyone understand the other side of, you know, nomad life that I was trying to live, right? So it's been 3 years that I've been building this startup. And the first year was obviously the same, like everyone feels like. The second year, I knew what I'm doing and I knew where I'm going. The third year just started in January. Like I took the year and from Jan and Feb, 2 months of super hustle, super energy, you know, like I was there on the peak of my life, newly married. Everything was so set and so beautiful, right? I was like nailing it. I was actually making a pitch deck so that I can go to the investors and tell them, hey guys, look at what I'm building here, right? And came the pandemic. I still didn't lose hope. I was there with the community. We all came together. We all shared music, art. We were cooking food. We were going live thrice in a day. We had 150 artists going live from the platform, all for free. You know, we were just supporting each other. So much of mental health talks, so many doctors coming in live and, you know, sharing their ideas. I got so many emails and people messaging from here and there that I'm feeling low. I need someone to talk to. So many people, right? Everyone was there to support each other. I was there to support the whole community. Everyone stood by all of us. But at the same time, I lost my track, right? From in the last month, I realized that I am in that B word zone, right? Like I have to shut this startup off like immediately. Like it is all overboard on me. And there are so many liabilities. There are so many responsibilities. The perspective from being out there and killing it is no more, you know, going to be possible at all at whatever given circumstances, right? So I started cooking, I started cycling again, I went back to friends, I went back to family, I went back to the community, picked up random email IDs started chatting with them, started talking to them, started my networking game back on the internet, came here to talk to you all. And what I believe is that the perspective is the key, is the source. Thank God that you mentioned it. Thank God that the energy level and
Yeah.
the connections so good that I have so much in this respect of the idea that if you have the perspective clear, every day is just going to be the same. It's just going to be that awesome, right? So I guess we are up with the time. We have last 4 minutes. What do
Can
we
I share
feel?
one story? Can I share one
Sure,
beautiful, real
go
quick?
ahead.
This is one thing I will say to everyone. Understand that there's beauty everywhere around us, right? So the other day, I'm an early riser. I usually get up before the sun. And so I went up to my rooftop
Thank
with
you
a
for making
neighbor.
it to this session, Nubia. I know we know it's 6 o'clock there.
It is. It's very early in the morning. And I went up to the rooftop to watch the sunrise. And as the sun was rising and we were having conversation, I looked behind my neighbor and I seen this cotton candy colored cloud. Okay. And it was beautifully pink and purple and all these beautiful, like vibrant colors. And then within the cloud was the most vibrant rainbow I have ever seen in my life. And
Wow.
I almost cried because I said it's things like this that we miss every day
Yeah.
because we don't take time to pay attention. We're so busy like this. We're so busy,
Yeah.
doing other things. All I had to do was look up. And
True.
I had got the burst of like beauty. And it all made sense in that moment because I am this big in such a large, beautiful world that I don't, or I can't say I don't, but I do, that a lot of us don't appreciate enough. So I think sometimes that, the universe put this whole pandemic in a sense to say, listen, we need to clean up this place because you guys are
Yeah.
ruining it in a lot of ways, right? So
Yeah.
my whole point about telling that story is taking time out to stop, look up, look at the stars, watch the sunrise, watch the sunset, look at the moon. Those are free things that you can do every single day to help boost your mental wellness and to help put things into perspective. I promise you, if you do that at least one time a day, one of those things, you're going to be like, wow, like this is
Totally agree, Nubia.
this is beautiful.
Have you considered being a life coach?
I haven't.
But you're right,
Subscribe.
because
I'm going to subscribe to you now.
we realize the same thing here in India as well. I mean, in Bombay, we see some of the most spectacular sunsets, some of the most
Yeah.
clearest skies in the recent month, and everybody's like, you know what? We never saw these kind of things when we were too busy with our work. So completely agree. Which also brings us to the topic which has been discussed the last 2 days about backyard tourism, about not forgetting about your own backyard and domestic tourism. Right?
Yes,
That's also a great thing to do right now.
I agree. I agree.
I tried this. I took my bike out and I just started riding in the random direction right outside my house on the main road. And I took the most random rights and lefts and rights just to get lost somewhere in my own city where I've been born and brought up. I know the
Right.
roads. I'm trying to get lost in my city, right? So I kept doing that for an hour and somehow I managed to find this one lane which I've never seen in my life. So I was like, hey, nice, I found it finally. I go in, I sit at a tea stall in that lane where there's a nice family of three, one kid and a mom and the dad, all smiling and talking to each other very politely and working together to make that cup of tea for me. And the kid comes and gives me the glass, and then I realized that this is fucking real and it is every day that it happens. But how many times in a month or in a year
It
do
happens
I do
there,
this
yeah.
to myself, right? That question with that blue sky on the top and that candy flowers, that bubblegum big giant
Cloud.
cloud, right? So I was like, look at the cloud, look at this kid smile, look at this family working together in the pandemic to get their bread and butter, but with a smile, but by
Exactly.
living in a very nice environment. I feel if we are sorted with our environment, we have realized and accepted our positions, our responsibilities, our priorities. We are
Sure.
already there, right? Like then it doesn't matter if you're in Mexico, if you're in Kurla, you're in anywhere in the world, right? It doesn't matter. Trust me. Like that's where I would want to end the session today. And
Can I just show you guys?
Yeah.
See if you can see it. Hold on. I don't know if you can see it. Oh man. Oh my mental.
awesome.
Okay. Well, I don't think you can see the
Yes,
rainbow
yes,
though.
We can see the cloud, but
Not the rainbow, but the cloud is
that's
beautiful.
pink.
Oh,
I see the rainbow.
we
Yes,
do.
I see the rainbow.
That is
Wow.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. So many hearts for
Sorry.
this. I want to send hearts here. 1 minute. I'm sending hearts. Yes. Wow. This was a
Sunny,
beautiful
do you
session.
want to have more questions in the lounge later on? I don't know how much time we have.
So what we can do is since we are running out of time and we had such good conversations here, we will take the conversations to the lounge area. I guess the team will put out a link here, and we have Shishti here. She's gonna take us there.